Hey everyone. Hello you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Matt Adams. I'm a dating and relationships coach in Boston, Massachusetts. And recently I've been having a conversation with someone via a Facebook group. And she's posted for advice a couple of different times. A whole bunch of other people, including myself, can chime in and the problem that I'm seeing is that all these other women that are posting in, are chiming in, are giving their own advice based off of their own insecurities. And it's like, holy crap. If you're a woman, if you're a person, a human being, and you post somewhere for advice, and other people who don't really know any better than you come in and offer crap advice, and you take it because you don't know, that's blind leading the blind, okay? And it's horrible to see. It's horrible to see. And so every woman in the conversation, practically every woman in the conversation, there are a couple level-headed women there, they're leading with their own insecurities, and they're feeding this other woman's insecurity, and it's sickening. Because here's this woman posting for relationship advice. She wants to have a good relationship. How's that going to be possible if she's listening to all this other crap? So I decided to go through the thread and pick out a few of these top insecurities, and I want to talk about them. And I threw a few others in, and I probably won't talk about them as much. I'm just going to talk about the main points here. Woohoo! This is my list. It took me longer to find the pen to write this down than it will to make the video. So here we go. The number one thing that this woman in particular is, her insecurity that she's leading with is she needs constant validation and reinforcement from this new guy that she's seeing. Now, the situation is he's separated and he's not divorced, but they've been separated for a while. He's got kids. He spends time with them. And that time away for him he is solely focused, as a guy speaking for another guy, he is solely focused on his kids in the time that he's with them. And he might think about this other woman that he's dating, the one who's posting looking for advice. He might think about her, but he's not going to have a conversation with her like a woman would. A woman would have, her kids, and she'd be texting on the phone, like dropping the guy a line because that's what she expects him to do for her. So that's a woman. That's how they think. That's how they operate. And that's what they're looking for. Guys don't do that. Guys are like single focused. Like, here's the task at hand, and I'm going to do this now. And when I'm done with this, done with time with the kids, for instance, now over here, put my paper down, now over here, here's the part where I'm going to have a conversation with the woman that I'm dating. But this thing here, the woman that I'm dating, and this thing here, my kids, and dealing with a broken marriage and that kind of thing, I need to keep these two things separate. Okay, now maybe he needs to keep them separate because he has learned from past mistakes. Maybe you are not the first woman that he has dated since his marriage has, broken up, essentially. They're living apart. So that said, maybe he tried to bring her in too soon, and it blew up in his face, and he lost that relationship. And the time that he invested in that, and, he was hurt, and the other woman that he might have dated was hurt. And he's not going to do that again, okay? Because he watched it blow up in his face. Now, I understand that because I've been through it. I have been through where a woman that I started dating, my current girlfriend, was still married at the time. She knew she was done. There was a restraining order, and there was a lot of space, and she knew she wasn't ever going to go back to the marriage. She knew it. So eventually she decided to move on. couldn't afford to get divorced at the time. He wasn't going to file for divorce either. He was more interested in controlling and trying to manipulate and extort money and all. I'm not going to go into the whole story. But I recognized her value, and I decided that, she was a woman worth pursuing and worth bringing into my life. Okay? And so to the woman who is posting for advice, if you feel that way about this guy, give him the space he needs to sort his life out. The things that he has to separate now, give him the space that he needs to deal with those two things so that eventually he can merge them into one. Okay? It took my girlfriend and I more than a year and a half for her to actually even meet her kids. It's like, don't try to rush that stuff. Someone knows their life better than you. And you trying to get them to hurry their life along because, why am I not in your life? What does it mean? Why can't I know where you live? We've been seeing each other for a month. Shut up. Sit back and relax. Let it go. What do you need all of that stuff for anyway? Validation. Validation. You need him to validate you. And that is not healthy for your potential relationship with him. And in fact, what it's going to do is it's going to push him away. He's going to see that you need validation from him, that you cannot self-validate. And it's going to push him away. And it's going to say, there's something wrong with this lady. I got to get out of here. I can't deal with this. This is too much. I have my kids to deal with. I have to work this family stuff out. I got to get divorced and all of that. And that's the hardest time for a guy, okay? Because the guy's identity, he's been married for how long? He's got kids. He's got a family. That's who he has become, okay? And now all of that is changing. I won't say getting ripped away from him unless, she's the one that left. I don't know the details. But all of that is changing, and he's lost who he was. He's lost his identity. That was him. Married, father of kids, got a job. That's him. That's who he is now. He's losing all of that. He's going to go through that whole process of losing it, coming to terms with it, realizing he has to move on from it, and then moving on from it, and then starting something new. And if you are so freaking impatient and you need him to validate you like now, you're never going to see all of that through. You are never going to be there for him all through that process. Like I was there for my current girlfriend. I knew that she needed time. I knew that she needed space. And you know what? 20 years ago, when I was like 17, I was in a relationship where I didn't meet the parents, I didn't meet the friends, I didn't meet anybody, and, how come I'm the secret? I was insecure like 20 years ago. Okay, so I've been on both sides of it. And I'll tell you, having been on both sides of it, when I waited and I was patient and I chilled the fuck out, it worked. We're still here. We're still strong. This is the best relationship I've been in. Give it time. That's what you got to do. You got to relax. You cannot seek validation from him. He's not in a place where he needs to do that for you. And you know what? No man should do that for you. You should be validating yourself. You should know yourself enough to know that I don't need validation from another man. Period. Okay, so I said I had a list here. That was the first one. The other thing, and I had a conversation with my friend about this last night. He dates a lot, I guess, not all the time, but a lot. And he recently dated a woman who needs him to need her. And she wants to be in touch all the time, several times a day, and they've been seeing each other for a few weeks. And she wants to be like this with him, like, arr, like attached. And he's like, whoa, I've been single for a long time. Hold up. Hey, slow down. Slow down. Oh, slow down. Take it easy, lady. Okay? And that behavior is like scaring him off. He doesn't want to deal with that. He's like, who is this woman and why is she still emotionally in high school? Grow up. Grow up. Your emotions need to mature. Okay? If this is you, if you're doing these things, you need to grow up. Period. Your emotions need to mature. You need to do some personal work. Okay? So, don't need him to need you. He's got to figure himself out. He's got to be independent first. And if he's already independent, and he's been single for a while, don't rush into his life. It's not going to work. Okay? What happens when two magnets that have reverse polarity come into close contact with each other? They push each other away. Okay? So he's got his energy here, his magnetism, and this is, I'm single, and I'm stable. And here comes the woman with her, I need to be needed. I need to be needed. And she comes in, and she's like, kapow! And they repel, because they're two opposing energies. They're two opposing polarities. Okay? And it blows up and they push each other away. It's not going to work. Okay? I am in a relationship. I'm polyamorous and I do date and have other relationships. So I recently dated a woman who needed to know, what are we? Where is this going? Do you love me? And I'm like, we've been seeing each other for 4 weeks. I don't know. I am not a fortune teller. I do not have a crystal ball. Oh, the crystal ball says this. Shake the magic 8 ball. The magic 8 ball says, a little question mark comes up. Oh, I don't have that. Okay? And granted, you know, I understand people are on all different levels when it comes to relationships. And I can accept that someone is at that level of emotional immaturity if they're willing to look at it when it's pointed out and say, you might be right, Matt, about this here is my problem and it's something that I have to take responsibility for. Okay? I have to take responsibility for it. It's my responsibility. And the way I like to talk about responsibility is response-ability. You have the ability to respond to whatever is coming up. Okay? And this requires you to do personal work, requires you to think on your toes. It requires self-awareness and a deep intellect. Okay? And if you don't possess those things, then you need to do some work. Plain and simple. I'm going to kind of rattle off the rest of this list because we're going on like 15 minutes now. I don't want to keep you here all day. But I address the most important ones. So some of the other signs of insecurity in a woman are being defensive, being controlling, and that's trying to control situations and or people. Being jealous, okay? Belittling other people, and people do that because they're trying to make themselves appear better. And if you need to make yourself appear better than what you really are, you're just covering up a big pile of shit. Sorry. It's the truth. Making other people feel guilty or insecure. And they do that because they're trying to cover up the shit is themselves, because they don't want to take a look deep inside and say, there's part of me that sucks that I need to take responsibility for. I need the ability to respond and change myself. Holding a grudge. Okay, that's just being emotionally immature. I'm going to be mad at you forever. Get over it. Placing fault on others. Kind of goes back to saying belittling others. Placing fault on others. It's their fault. It's their fault. It's their fault. No. It's your fault. Take responsibility for it. And can't have honest discussions about the relationship. So, you know, when I was having that conversation with the woman that I was recently seeing, and I was trying to have an honest conversation about, like, hey, we've been seeing each other for a few weeks. Like, we're still trying to figure each other out, get to know each other, and that kind of thing. And she was too impatient and too needy, and you can't give me what I want, and blah, 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 blah. And, oh, I have to break up with you because I think I'm going to get hurt. Okay. I was more than happy to let her go. More than happy to let her go. Because I didn't want to deal with that. I'm not going to fight for somebody who's not going to fight for themselves. And then finally, a woman who abandons her life to be a part of yours. Then that says to a man, like, what does this woman have? What else does she have going on in her life that I'm the only thing? She's going to put everything down for me? She's going to put everything down for me? Some jerk called and the video got split. She's going to put everything down for me? What? This woman has nothing better going on than to make me her sole priority? I mean, hey, I feel a little flattered at first, but then, she's kind of doesn't have her life together. She's got no interest. She's got nothing going on. I don't want to be a part of this. Anyhow, I'm going to wrap this up. Listen, insecurities, it's a real problem, okay? It's a real problem for men trying to find a good relationship with a woman. They have to deal with all of this stuff. The women don't even see it. They project their own insecurities onto themselves or, onto the guys. One thing in particular that the women in this group keep saying is, he's cheating on you. He's married. He's really not split, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm willing to admit that there's a possibility that that's true. But until I have more solid evidence that that's what it is, then I'm not going to go forward with that notion in my head. I'm not going to do it. Because that's self-sabotaging. That is I'm going to sabotage this potentially good thing because I'm too stupid to know that it's me. Oh, ladies. Really, wise up. Wise up. I love y'all. You're great. And I want you to have happy, healthy relationships. And when you try to convince another woman that, hey, he's cheating on you, you're the other woman, blah, 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 you are feeding your own insecurities and you are feeding someone else's insecurities, and you are damaging what could very well be a good relationship. Cut it out. Okay? To the woman who is the original poster and asking for advice, do not listen to these women. Look for evidence. I'm not saying trust this guy implicitly, but take him at face value. Look for evidence along the way, strong evidence, real evidence that is he cheating on you? Okay? Strong evidence only, not conjecture, not 20 women ganging up on you in your thread in a Facebook group saying, he's cheating on you, you're the other woman, you best get out of there. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand men, and it is so completely obvious to the other men posting there that they don't get it. okay? They don't get it. Do yourself a favor. Look for evidence along the way. Relax. Let it go. Do some inner work. When you feel like messaging him and saying, I want to know where this is going. Do you love me? Do you care about me? Lady, you said like, I don't know, last weekend or a couple weekends ago, he spent some money and took you away on a vacation. And that's him trying to show you that, you know, he's into this. He's in this. Okay? And you're just letting your imagination run wild and you're letting your emotions run wild. Bring yourself back into check now. Now! Otherwise, you're just going to blow it up. Do not go to his house. These are suggestions by other women. Go to his house and find out what he's doing. Creepy. Stalker. Don't do it. Demand that he, invite you to his house. Demand that he introduce you to his friends and his family. Don't do any of that. That makes you a bitch. Don't do it. You don't want to be a bitch. All right, I'm done. That's it. Thanks for watching.